Welcome to the Modern Basketball Podcast, also known as M.O.B Podcast, episode 82. I'm Evan.
I'm Ja.
And this is our basketball podcast, where we recap, break down, and analyze players and teams from the previous games from the previous day. How are you this Tuesday, Ja?
I'm good. I'm chilling.
I forgot it was Tuesday. The start of the week been weird.
Yeah. Well,
you're bad at telling jokes when after immediately you say, I gotta cut that out. Like literally, it wasn't even 5 seconds past. You really need like a comedian host or something, like a comedic therapist or something like that. Like it's just so embarrassing. Anyway, I'm doing good as well. I want everyone to have a good day. Hope everyone will have a good day. Much to discuss from last night, but first, before we go into the games or anything of that matter, we cannot continue on without mentioning passing of Laker great and all-time NBA basketball great Elgin Baylor, who died not last night, but yesterday.
Yeah.
Age 86. I know a lot of you are not familiar with Elgin Baylor, but to put it in perspective, he was one of the pioneers of the game. He's one of the best players in the 50s and the 60s, really the first great Los Angeles Laker that played on that team. And then came along Jerry West, and him and Jerry West were on the Lakers and really built a foundation for that Lakers team. I mean, despite not winning any championships, because Bill Russell and his Celtics were taking all of them. But yeah, he was a great player, 11-time All-Star, one of the greatest of all time, a tremendous scorer. He currently holds the record for most points in a finals game, which is 61.
Yep.
So that's just to put in perspective who Elgin Baylor was as a basketball player. I know you know a lot more than I do, so I'm gonna let you continue on.
Yeah, man. You want to talk about icon, legend, greatness, one of the GOATs of the game, pioneers, hang time before hang time. What he was able to do, his ability, his skill set, man. I studied this, man, just watching his highlights, man, from footwork, getting to the basket, creating his own shot, mid-range area, post game, athletic ability, rebounding. Like he was just a full package. His passing ability, he had everything that you want in a player, and he was ahead of his time. He was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan, Dr. J before Dr. J. The man was just a straight up legend, and he paved the way for how the game is today, to be honest. And rest in peace and rest in power to him.
Yes, rest in peace to one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Elgin Baylor.
Wait, hold on real quick. You want to know something crazy? Do you know for a fact, like, there was one season in which I think he was a part of the Army, and he only could play games on the weekends. You know how much he averaged on the weekends? He averaged 38 points per game. Only played 48 games, averaged 38. Mind you, he only played on the weekends.
That I didn't even know that story.
Yep, 62 season.
Isn't that the same season with the finals? When he went to the finals?
Yep, they went to the finals. They went to the finals that same season, the same year that he dropped 61.
Well, wow. Well, there you go. Just another great memory and accomplishment from his playing career. I mean, he probably would have got a chip if he didn't leave the 71-72 season, the same season that Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West Lakers went on a 33-game winning streak, the longest winning streak in NBA history, and won the championship later on in that season. But yeah. With that being said, like we said, rest in peace to Elgin Baylor. Now, let's talk about the game that he was so very good at, basketball. All right, from last night's game, the only primetime game on, which was the Pacers and the Bucks. No Malcolm Brogdon and Miles Turner for the Pacers, and no Giannis for the Bucks. But man, it seemed like nobody else was playing for the Pacers either. Because wow, the Bucks just came out and just stormed them. Stormed them from the very beginning. 48 points in the first quarter, and they did not look back. The Pacers looked like they had a little run in that, I think it was late in the third or in that fourth quarter, where they got the lead within, I think, about 12, 14.
Yeah.
But then the Bucks just ran on with it and just dominated for the most part of this game and blew the Pacers out the water.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about this game. The only thing is I could just look into the future, man, and say it is probably going to be better days for the Pacers, because there has already, as of recently, even though they have gotten back into their winning ways a little bit, there has also been mostly times to struggle, as we could just recall as a recent.
Yeah. Wow. I was surprised with how badly they were playing. But then I gotta give credit to the Bucks. I mean, everyone just had it clicking. Everyone. It was just so surprising. I mean, I never seen Giannis so happy in his life. In my life. Just coming off the bench screaming. I mean, Pat Connaughton, Chris Middleton, Bobby Portis, Drew Holiday, going up against his brothers, by the way. showing who's the real alpha of the family.
He was baking them.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a dominating performance by the Bucks. You cannot have it any which way, especially without your star player. I mean, geez, and this is not just a star player. This is a superstar. This is a top 5 player in the game.
Yeah,
and you did this without him. You got to be impressed with how your team played. If you're Mike Budenholzer. So yeah, credit to the Bucks. Disappointing performance by the Pacers, and the Bucks win this victory, win this game in very, very convincing fashion. But all right, any other games you'd like to talk about? They were a
look, man.
I might have said it last night, boring games, but wow, was I so very mistaken. So anything that you like to talk about first?
The streak is finally over. After 21 games. Wait, 20 or 21, right?
They lost 20 in a row.
Yeah, they lost 20 in a row. 21st game. They finally won. I'm just gonna be a spoiler. They finally won. Houston Rockets, throw a celebration like you won the chip back in 94, 95. Hakeem, do whatever you gotta do, but you finally won. Thank God.
Houston, this for you.
But yeah, man, it wasn't an easy window in the beginning. The Raptors, who are on a losing streak themselves, who are now have lost 9 in a row, they came out with a lot of energy, pushing. They came out a lot of energy, pushing the ball up and down the court, transition points. Norman Powell looks so athletic. I'm not even gonna lie. In certain moments of the game, and Lowry just being the seasoned vet that he is, they just had it going. But then you can't keep down the Rockets, especially John Wall. John Wall just had like
20 games.
Don't do that to me, man. Let them get this. Let them get this.
All right.
But John Wall just had an energy burst, and even though it was close between that second quarter and that third quarter, the fourth quarter it was just basically all Rockets at that point. They started it in late in the third, and they just took it all throughout the fourth, and they just had energy in terms of getting to the basket, getting their shots, being aggressive, attacking the rim, and just all around just playing so well on the offensive end. And as a result, they was able to get this win.
Yes, John Wall picking up the triple-double. Also, Sterling Brown had a big game. Jayshawn Tate also had a big game for them. And yes, the streak is over. After 20 games of misery, of pain, of injuries, of loss, of trade requests, the Houston Rockets have finally won a game. Finally. And now the Raptors hold the league leading losing streak in the NBA. And I mean, somebody had to lose. So
yes, they did. It came down to two teams. He was like, hey, whoever it is, man.
yep, somebody had to lose. Sadly, it had to be the Raptors, who have been playing absolutely abysmal.
We the North. We the North.
They need to go back up the North. Because Florida ain't doing it right now. I don't know what's going on in Toronto. They had that terrible start, and then they finally got things going right before the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. And then they're just playing terribly. At first, you can excuse them, just like the Rockets. First, you can excuse them with the injuries, right? Because Siakam and Van Vliet COVID protocol, they had COVID. Yeah. So they were out, and those are their two best players. So of course, also Kyle Lowry was in and out the lineup. Yeah. But then they've been playing. Y'all just lost to a team that hasn't won a game in 20 games. Oh wait, no, never mind. Because y'all their first win in 20 games. Jeez. Let's move the whole thing from the Rockets being terrible and everybody making jokes about them. Let's move it to the Raptors now, because we on you.
Yeah, man, the pressure's on you. Let's see. Are they going to do the same thing that the Rockets did, or are they going to miss?
Hell, there's no way.
Hey, anything is possible. I'm not trying to put bad on anybody, but hey, anything is possible.
I got the Raptors losing max 15. Max. There's no way to get 20.
But yeah, we the North is not looking good down south for you. That's all I gotta say. Next game, the Grizzlies versus the Celtics. The Celtics, they started off the game pretty well, but this young Grizzlies team with a lot of energy, a lot of grit to them. You can't keep them down. And John Morant, well, specifically John Morant, but that whole between that second half and that second quarter and the third quarter just had an energy boost in which they were being aggressive, attacking the rim, playing defense, going hard at the hole. They was keeping up with this Celtics team. But to end the third quarter, Jaylen Brown went on his own individual scoring run in that third quarter. Towards the end, he had 10 points in the 10th quarter, specifically all within within 3 minutes of the last 3 minutes of that third quarter. And it became a ball game in the fourth, in which the Grizzlies had the lead up for Marcus Smart. He makes a three and one. I said makes a three. He makes a layup and he gets an and one on it. And then to tie up the game, he actually throws a lob to Daniel Tice. John Morant has the opportunity to go for a game-winning shot, but yet it clinks right off the front of the rim. They go into overtime, and Memphis basically took care of business from there.
Yes. Great job picking up the victory towards the end for the Grizzlies. Disappointing with how the Celtics have been playing this season. We'll just leave it at that. There's one more game that you would like to go over, yes?
Oh, yeah, Hornets versus Spurs.
Yes.
The Hornets versus Spurs, and this was a close battle, a really close battle. Both teams played so well, but just specifically that fourth quarter was the main look. Don't get me wrong, it was a close game, but that fourth quarter was where everything came down to the wire. The Hornets, they had the lead, but yet DeMar went for a quick two. Mind you, before that, Terry Rozier hit a big shot. He hit a big shot down the stretch to give the Hornets the lead, of course. And then, again, you can't keep down this Spurs team. DeMar takes the quick two, just in case if they couldn't get a three. And then they had to really rush and get a quick foul and hope that they get an opportunity to tie up the game. Patty Mills, they give it right up to Patty Mills in the inbound. Patty Mills, wide open shot, clinks off the rim. They get the rebound, and as a result, the Hornets run out the time, and they win the game.
Yeah, Patty Mills had a great look. A good open shot. It just didn't didn't fall through.
Yeah.
Other times, other games, it probably would have won in, but you know how it is. Sometimes they go in, sometimes they don't.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great job by this Hornets team. Hayward and Rozier picking up the big victory just off the back of the LaMelo Ball announcement.
Yeah.
Really impressive by the Hornets.
Yes.
All right. The other games, 3 other games that happened around the league, I'll go over it quickly. The Hawks and the Clippers. The Hawks were dominating the Clippers, surprisingly. The Hawks coming into the game with, I believe, an 8-game winning streak.
Yeah.
And they haven't really gotten that win against a well-proven team, but this looked like it was going to be it. The way they were playing, Trae Young, John Collins, Bogdanovich coming off the bench. They looked like they had this. They were up 22.
Yeah.
Up by 22. But the Clippers, being the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi. I mean, what can you say about that, man? I terminated. But him, along with some good bench production, Terrence Mann, Luke Kennard, coming off the bench, giving them big bench production, giving them big productivity. They let that come back, and the Hawks kind of just like froze. The Hawks just they didn't know what to do. They started struggling, and the Clippers, off of Kawhi's dagger 3 down the stretch, were able to close out this comeback victory against the Hawks, snapping the Hawks' 8-game winning streak.
Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
All right, the other game, the Kings and the Cavs, 2 teams struggling playing basketball. The Kings won. Let me stop. It was entertaining. I mean, it was a good back and forth. I mean, 2 young teams, 2 hungry teams, two teams trying to fight and prove themselves. But in the end, third quarter had a big run from the Kings. They pretty much rode that wave, stopped the run of the Cavs, and took the victory home.
Yeah.
And lastly, the Thunder and the Timberwolves, and another 2 young teams, 2 hungry teams. Timberwolves, you know how their season has been up and down, injuries and all this COVID protocols. Well, it has been with a lot of teams. Yeah. But they still play hard and they still hustle and they still try their best. Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns. But the Thunder also do the same. Yeah. And Thunder have actually won games. They are currently just right outside the playing game. Yeah. Behind, actually, are they ahead of the Pelicans? I'm gonna check that real quick. Yes, they are. Yep, they are ahead of the Pelicans. Only 2.5 games behind. And the Thunder can win basketball games, especially with how they play.
They've been shocking us since Westbrook left the team.
That is true. It's supposed to be a terrible team, but yet they are around decent mediocre team. Yeah. But with the way they play, they give themselves a chance to win every single night. Exactly. So you got to respect that. And it was the same way against the Timberwolves team, who was also in that category, just with more struggles. Yeah. And as a result, Thunder able to pick up the win. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31 on the night. Just a young star in the making. Yep. All right. Some news around the association. First, there has been an update on LeBron James, the king himself's injury. It has been announced that he will be out for the next 3 to 4 weeks for the Los Angeles Lakers. Bad, but not terrible. I'll say that. Yeah. Bad because the Lakers are now without the best player in the world and also have been out with Anthony Davis, one of the great, in terms of skill set, players of all time. Yeah. So that's going to be crucial. But 3 or 4 weeks, maybe they can get some steals in terms of wins. Yeah. Maybe they can hover around that, 500 mark in terms of how many games they will play without LeBron.
Yeah.
Maybe they could just stay within range, a 3 to 4 spot.
Hey, man.
They could be good.
Yeah. Hey, man. Again, I look at this as it's not a good thing that injury happened, but I look at this as a bright situation for them still. This is an opportunity for these other guys to continue to prove themselves. Again, prior to LeBron James coming here, Kuzma, when Lonzo and Ingram were on the team and everything, he was looked at as one of the rising stars of that team, with what he could do on the offensive end. I look for him to try to get back into that role again. I know he's gotten adjusted to being that guy who's like, the fourth fiddle on the team or whatsoever, but he's still a really talented young player. Schroeder, we know the leadership that he could bring. He was under the tutelage of Chris Paul. Don't forget, just last year, and he's always gotten better over the years within his career, from Atlanta to Oklahoma to now this. And you got Harold, you got Caruso, you got all these guys who, they bring the energy, they bring up the intensity. So this is a great challenge for them.
Yep, I'm in agreement with you. We'll see what they can do without the Lakers team. And who knows? You see how the Sixers have been playing without Embiid.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Lakers don't have Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons. But we'll keep an eye on how the Lakers will be doing.
Yeah.
Especially since they do play tonight. And speaking of tonight, predictions for tonight's games should be an interesting one, seeing the lineup. So, all right, so let's get into it. First, starting off with the Nuggets against the Magic. Who you got?
The Nuggets.
Yeah, sorry, Vooch. I got the Nuggets. The Wizards against the Knicks.
Wizards.
The Knicks. Well, it depends on who's reffing the game. TNT first primetime game of the night, 7:30. It is, of course, as I just said, the Los Angeles Lakers, defending champions, going up against the New Orleans Pelicans. Who do you have?
Ooh, I got the Pels.
You got the Pels. I got the Lakers. The Suns against the Heat.
Suns.
That should be a really interesting game. Excited to see that one. The next primetime game of the night, TNT 10 o'clock. It is the Philadelphia 76ers going up against the Golden State Warriors. I am not sure if Steph Curry will play.
If he is, I got Golden State. If not, I got the Sixers.
And I got the Sixers either way. And lastly, the Brooklyn Nets up against the Portland Trail Blazers. The Brooklyn Nets will be playing without Kyrie Irving for this game and for the next two after this game. So keep that in mind. Kyrie out for the next 3 games.
I'm sorry, repeat that. You said the Nets versus who?
The Blazers.
Blazers
as well. A little hesitated because, they got absolutely obliterated by the Mavericks a few nights ago. But hey, he's the NBA. Stuff like that happen. All right. I think it's time to wrap things up. Any final thoughts?
RP to the GOAT. Once again, one of the greatest to do it. Elgin, rest in power. And just another thing really quickly. Somebody gonna need more hot sauce, man. Somebody's gonna need more hot sauce.
Who?
The dude from up north, who's down south right now. Because
Laurie?
He's not looking spicy. He ain't looking spicy, man.
I was wondering, who the hell are you talking about? I'm thinking Kyle Lowry sells a hot sauce. But yeah, mild peak.
Yep. Mild. Dry ass mild, man.
Who seems to be struggling down the stretch in games, especially this season. I don't know. The Raptors, they need to get it together. I don't like seeing them playing like this.
You know when you got to get it together when somebody really made a compilation of your lowlights, of you coming up short down the clutch. You
They don't do
know,
that. They did the same thing to PG in the playoffs. Same thing. It's just people when you struggle, that's what happens. But yes, but it's not just him. The Raptors itself.
yeah,
They need to get it together now. I feel like yes, they had those struggles of moving down to Florida,
yeah,
like right at the start of the season, and COVID protocols and all that. But now we are in the middle of the season.
yeah,
Like it's none of that now. Yeah, I
exactly.
had it together for a moment. Now what's going on? Nick Nurse, I think you're the reigning coach of the year. Something has to be fixed up.
Exactly. Like the only two bright spots on the team has been Van Vliet and Boucher, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. Boucher, I was arguably a candidate for
Six
both
man. Yeah.
6-man and most improved too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Van Vliet is stumped for an all-star team. So yeah. Besides that, yeah, the Raptors they're currently 11th right now,
Yeah.
and are how many games back? Wow. With this losing streak, they're 2.5 games back from the Pacers, who are 10th.
They just better fix it. Along with the Pacers, they better get it together.
Yep. I agree with both. But as long as the Knicks make it. All right, and one more time, rest in peace to Elgin Baylor, of course, a basketball legend. All right. With that being said, thank you guys for watching today's pod. Make sure to tune into tomorrow's podcast. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Also, follow RAG down in the description below.
And once again, I am Evan.
I'm Ja.
And this is the Mind of Basketball Podcast.
RP GOAT.